Hi, first grade.
Hello, first grade.
This is Mrs. Kunda.
And Mr. DeStefano.
And we want to welcome you to our Listen and Learn Class Dojo lesson. We miss all of you. Welcome to my class, Mr. Stefano's, Mrs. B, Mrs. Parada, Mrs. Sullivan's classes. We are so excited you guys are all here to join us.
And so today we're continuing with a nonfiction unit. What does nonfiction mean? So non almost sounds like not. So we learned that fiction stories were stories that were fake. So non-fake must mean it's
real.
Real.
It's the truth.
So when we read nonfiction texts, most of the information we read about is real. So they're real or true. They give real information. Most of the time they have real pictures, but you will find some books in the library that are nonfiction that have illustrations. And actually Mrs. Kunda is showing you the map right now, which has been drawn. So that is, so that's still part of our text, which is real. And we know our friend Rattenborough there.
He is also drawn.
Yes, he's also drawn. He is not real. He's made up. But the information that we read about that he shares, the information he shares is real, even though he is not real.
All right, so we're going to hop into some vocabulary for today's lesson. We are not going to review last week's vocabulary, so if you want to go to last time's vocab, you're welcome to go and watch the first 5 minutes of that video to kind of give you a little bit more background in the vocab. We've just been noticing that the vocab is taking a very long time when it comes to videoing and uploading onto YouTube and getting those links on there, so that's why we're not going back and going over that vocab. All right, so the new vocab, the first word is tundra. So the word tundra is that this is just a treeless area in a specific part of the Arctic. Okay, so an example of this would be plants in the tundra do not grow very tall because it's very cold there. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see in the picture, but the tundra is a very snowy area, and we're going to learn a lot about that today.
And our next word is adapted. Adapted is when you change for a certain reason, for a special purpose. So our definition says, adapted is changed to suit a special purpose or situation, adjusted. So if you think about human beings, in the wintertime, we put on heavy coats and hats and gloves and mittens and sweaters to adapt to our winter. And then in the summertime, we don't wear any of those things. We wear lighter clothes like t-shirts and shorts and sandals to adapt to the hot weather.
All right, another word is exposed. So exposed is to be left without protection, to be put out in the opening with no covering. So the example they have is his bike, which he stored outside, became rusty because it was exposed to the rain. So a lot of times when you have something outside, you really want it to be under a shelter or to have some sort of covering over it so that it doesn't ruin it. And in this case, I don't know if you can tell, but this is a bike and it turned all rusty because it got exposed to the rain and the cold.
And our last word is burrow, which means to dig a hole or a tunnel. Rabbits burrow underground to make their home. So they burrow, they dig a hole.
All right. Today's journal entry is pretty simple. We just want to know what is one thing that you learned about the Arctic tundra? So tell us about one thing that you've learned today about the Arctic tundra. And we gave you a sentence starter today. I learned, and then tell us all about what you learned.
And don't forget that period at the end.
Yes, and capital at the beginning of your sentence. We'll be looking for those. And like we always say, feel free to send us a message, write in the comments about your answer to the journal question. We even accept pictures and videos. We just love hearing from you. All right.
Okay, everybody, so let's begin. I think it's my turn to read today, Mrs.
It
Connor.
is.
All right. Hello again, Rattenborough the Adventurer here to take you on a tour of one of the coldest habitats on Earth, the Arctic tundra. In the tundra, there aren't very many plants. In fact, there are no trees at all, and a rat like me has to wear long johns and mittens. So notice how he's adapted to that cold weather. The wind here is incredibly strong, which means the air feels even colder. The ground is frozen and nearly everything is covered in ice. In the winter, daylight lasts only a few hours, and at times the sun does not come out at all. Some ice will still be here in the summer, but in the summer the top layer of ice melts so that the ground gets wet and muddy. The temperatures here are so low that most people and animals would freeze. All of these things make the Arctic tundra one of the least friendly habitats on Earth for plants and animals. So I guess I think in one of the previous lessons I had talked about maybe we could adapt to live in the Arctic tundra, but it looks like I was incorrect with that, Mrs. Kunda. It doesn't look like that.
It does not look like it.
Today. So, teachers are learning right along with you.
We are, and I just can't wait to find out more about this because, my goodness, even though it's very cold there, it does look very beautiful.
Yes. Arctic plants. Some plants and animals can only live in the Arctic tundra in the summer months when the temperature is warmer, but some are able to live there all year long. Arctic plants grow very close together and do not grow very tall, which keeps them from being blown away by the Arctic winds. The kind of plants that can live in the Arctic tundra are mosses and different types of grasses. For once, I'm the tallest thing around.
It's pretty interesting that the plants are so low to the ground here.
Yeah, so that's one of the ways they have adapted to living in such a cold places to stay close to the ground.
It's very smart.
The animals that call the Arctic tundra habitat home all year round have adapted to the harsh conditions. When an animal has adapted to a habitat, that means it has changed over the years and now has special things that help it live in that habitat. For example, many animals in the Arctic have adapted by growing heavy fur coats that help them stay warm in the cold temperatures. This creature is called a musk ox. The musk ox's long, shaggy coat has an extra layer of hair underneath that keeps him warm when the temperature is cold enough to turn a rat into a popsicle. And it sheds the extra coat of hair in the warmer summer months. So it has that extra layer to keep it warm in the wintertime to adapt to the winter weather, and then it loses that extra hair in the summer, or extra fur in the summertime to keep him cool. Kind of like when we put on our coats in the winter and we have our shorts and t-shirts on in the summer.
And it's a very common animal trait that you'll see. For example, I have a cat. My students definitely know I have a cat named Franklin. And this time of year where it starts to warm up, I start to find fur all over my house. And he's not going bald. It's because he's shedding that extra layer of fur that he grew for the winter. So you see that a lot with animals.
Musk oxen travel in herds. A herd is like a group. So they can huddle together for added warmth. So they kind of get close to each other and to stay warm. Their hooves are down here on their feet.
Right down here.
Their hooves are very wide to keep them from slipping on the snow and ice. In the winter, musk oxen use their sharp hooves to dig under the snow to find plants to eat.
Right.
Here comes an animal I want to stay hidden from. This is a wolverine. The wolverine uses its fur coat to keep nice and warm. Like the muskox, the wolverine has large paws to help him move across the snow, and that come in handy when he's trying to catch food.
Right.
Caribou. These animals are called caribou and are part of the deer family. They are sometimes called reindeer. These caribou are traveling in a large herd. So a herd is when you travel together in a large group like that, which helps to protect them against attack by other animals. Caribou hair traps air, which keeps these animals warm. Their hooves change depending on the time of the year. Wow, they adapt. So they can walk and run in mushy, wet terrain or in hard, icy terrain. Male caribou, or male or boy caribou, also have antlers to help them dig for grass in the snow. Okay, so their hair helps them to trap air and keep them warm. And then I thought it was interesting that their hooves change. They adapt to the different weather at different times of the year.
All right, first grade, we're going to pause right here.